Celebrating International Women's Day.
That's the moment I shine.
Yeah, with Natalie Locke.
All of the girls.
The newest face on the Nova team from the breakfast team in Brisbane, comedian, TV star, actress. She's done just about everything. Nikki Osborne, welcome.
Why, thank you very much. It feels weird being called the newest face in radio, but now it is a visual format and I feel ripped off because I find, I'm doing breakfast and I thought that radio was the one time you could turn up looking like utter shit. And now they video everything.
Yes, it's a bait and switch, isn't it? You think that, you can roll in with your hair just in a messy, greasy bun, no makeup and wearing sweats. And then the next thing you know, you're on all over social media.
Especially if you say something pertinent or something that accidentally goes viral and then you're just getting tormented with I don't know if you've realised I look down a lot and when I look down all my face falls down and I never do that ever in the mirror and I realised how much I look like my mum.
It's confronting, isn't it? It is confronting. And I find that the same, obviously we have cameras from every angle in the studios as well. So even when the camera's actually on a co-host and you're in the background kind of with your listening face on, it's like, oh, that's not pretty.
I don't like my listening face at all.
It's awful, isn't it? Mine. Yours, I'm sure, is lovely.
I just look vacant. I just like the wheel still spinning, but the hamster's dead. And I found it really hard looking at my face in a face position that my family have had to live with for years. All of a sudden I understand. Anyway.
It's funny when you go, oh, my God, that's so awful. And everybody around you goes, oh, no, that's what you look like. That's what we look at all the time.
You're like, damn it.
I mean, you are a mum, and so how have you found the transition of doing breakfast radio? Because the hours are brutal. It's a major lifestyle adjustment. On top of that, you're having to be a mum as well.
Oh, the hours are rancid. I didn't quite realise how hard this would be.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that it was a form of torture. It's the sleep deprivation and I'm just permanently now trying to not be a grumpy cow to my kids in the afternoon. And that it's been quite the transition because it's hard to be a nice person when you're tired.
It really is, isn't it? And this is basically like group therapy is what we're doing now. But you're right, that sleep deprivation. And people don't understand because, often other people in our office are like, we'll come in early if there's a big event on early or whatever. And they're like, oh, no, it's easy. It's fine. It's like, no, okay, now do it every day. And then be so sleep deprived on the weekend you can't function. And then rock up again on Monday and then repeat for 20 years.
And it's the head game too.
Yes.
It's the head game going... I'm waiting for my mind to give up on me first. I think my mind's going to start saying, you can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
You can't keep doing this. But yeah, it's basically the best way to compare it is the feeling you get after a long haul flight where you've been sat next to a screaming toddler for 24 hours and then going home to your two teething toddlers. That's how I feel each morning. It's
how long's it been? About a month?
5 weeks and 2 days.
I mean, not that you're counting, but well done. Well done.
Thank you very much. And I only missed one of them. But I still made it. I still did it. I dialed in, but my body just said no. My body just went no.
You couldn't get up, or you just gave up? Yeah.
I gave up the night before. I texted everyone and said, I'm cooked. This Autobot can't roll out tomorrow. But I've got the little machine thing, so I'll dial in. And that kind of saved my bacon. I was really funny that morning. There's a lot to be said for dialing in from home.
Yeah, the comfort of your own home goes a long way. I've been doing this gig for 22 years, and I think
I've
only done that twice, dialed in twice, and that was during COVID. So yeah, I know.
Do you get a medal
No, you get nothing, Nikki. You get nothing.
You should get a service award or something. No, I'm serious. I don't Wow.
It's a long time. It is a long time. But, you know, at the time when you first start out, you don't think you're going to be doing this for 20 years. It kind of just rolls along. I thought at the beginning, when I was where you are now, that I would do it for maybe, I thought if I can do this for a couple of years, it'll be a really good story to tell people later down the track when you're in the home going, oh, I worked at a radio station for 2 years. And then 22 years later, I'm still here because I have no other options mainly.
That's
I used to be a chiropractor and I gave up my registration, so now I just have to do this.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I mean, for you, though, you're a comedian, so let's talk about you. So you do have other skills, obviously, and you could always ditch the radio and just go back to being a very successful comedian.
Well, you're kind of incentivizing me to keep those skills quite sharp on the side.
Exactly. How did you get into comedy from the outset? What was your sort of launching into comedy?
How do I make a long story short? Started in acting, so I got an acting degree. I was a proper actor wanker, only auditioning for like award-winning things.
Yes.
I've been in award-winning things, but I always got frustrated that nothing was funny in these dramas. And so I started pivoting more towards auditioning just for comedy.
Yeah.
And then I'd read the scripts. I'd be like, there's a much funnier out in this, and it'd be funny if she said this. I started like paraphrasing audition scripts, which sometimes worked great. Sometimes they were just so offended, which I understand why now as a writer. And then I started writing sketch comedy. I started working with comedian Troy Kinney a lot as well. And that was where I really cut my teeth in writing sketch comedy. And then I got sick of men and I decided I'm going to just do stand-up so I can just be on my own. I just want to be alone.
Yeah.
I just want to tell my own jokes. I want to do it on my own. And that was how I got into stand-up.
Yeah, and you've been very successful. People, you know, if they're not familiar with your work, you are everywhere. You've hosted comedy specials on Channel 10 as well. You're very well known in comedy circles.
I've had a good run, yeah.
Yeah. No, well, that's obviously talent. Yeah. Come on.
Sometimes I think I just fill a hole in the market. They're like, oh, yeah, she does comedy and she looks all right in a frock. Whack her up the front.
Comedy is an interesting and very male-centric world. How have you,
yes.
I mean, you know, doing open mic nights and comedy nights where they're like, oh, I guess we better put a girl on, that kind of thing. What's been your experience of that over the years?
Oh, they've always got to have the obligatory woman in the lineup. Otherwise, you know, I would be considered misogynistic.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've had a pretty good run.
Yeah.
I don't have my nose out of joint about being the only woman or being marginalised as a woman because I'm just grateful to be doing comedy as a whole. And, you know, one of the things that actually I have had my nose out of joint a few times. One of the things so I took off quite quickly.
Yes.
And it was because I had a show that was very noisy, but it was a really good show. I've got to say that though. Like I'm very proud of that show. And so a lot of opportunities came at me really quickly. And one of them was the Opera House for Just for Laughs and televised. And I was still quite new. I was a noob, but I booked that. And so I went to a new material night at the Comics Lounge in Melbourne where all professional comedians come and everyone knows that you're just running new gear.
You're testing new jokes. And the idea is that not all of them are going to hit. That's the point of testing them. Yeah.
And I got up there, I did all new jokes and they all landed. And I got off and they said, oh, which one was the new joke? I'm like, wait, what? I thought they were all meant to be new. And they're like, no, you just got to try one or two. I'm like, oh, well, look, anyway. So, and they said, so you're doing the Opera House, are you? And I'm like, yeah, I am. And they're like, bloody hell, that's a massive deal. Like it's televised. Who have you got writing your stuff for you? And, you know, I was in a group of 4 men in this chat. And I said, what do you mean? I write all of my own stuff. And they said, oh, no, if you're doing something that big, you should get some writers to help you. And then they went on to list 5 dudes that they think should write my set. And I just started laughing at the irony that all these men around me telling me that other men need to write my jokes when I'm the one doing the opera house.
Yes, exactly. About your life too, presumably. Like,
so there's a lot of mansplaining.
Nova 937. Yeah. Celebrating International Women's Day. Nova 937. Yeah. Celebrating International Women's Day.
All the comedians that I've worked with have been great, and you don't really see sex when you're at the top. Like, it doesn't matter if you've got tits or a dick. If your jokes land and if they're funny, they're funny.
It's funny.
So that's how I found it anyway. I think there's more dudes in radio, to be fair.
Yeah, no, that's probably accurate too. What about online trolls? I mean, the classic trope is women aren't funny. Do you read the comments, or are you like, I'm just not even going to bother?
Oh, look.
It's tough, isn't it?
Every now and then I do a check-in. Like, I know in radio you call it air check.
Yeah.
Every now and then I do an online check just to get a feel for the temperature in the room, how I'm being received. And for every 99 awesome comments, there's always that one heinous, hideous one, usually a dude telling me how unfunny I am and listing all the men I probably shagged to get to where I am. Look, it still upsets me. I still get upset. I'm getting better at it. I've got bigger muscles now because, it comes more thick and fast now. So
yes, of course.
I'm kind of like troll fit, but every now and then it gets me. It gets under the skin. And I go home and I have a cry and a dummy spit to my husband. He says, "You're a moron. Stop reading it." I'm like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. And then I'll have some champagne and get on with my life, which is what the trolls usually don't have. Yeah. Is a life.
This is the thing. We put so much weight on that one negative comment without knowing anything about who this person is, about how successful they are in their own life, about what they're good at, and whether anybody comes and publicly criticises them. It's crazy, really, but it's human nature as well, isn't it?
It is, because you read them all on equal measure.
Yeah.
But someone said to me once that you basically have to liken those troll comments to bin people. People just going through the trash and then they shout something at you and then they go back to going through the trash. It's just bin people with phones.
Yes.
And, you really have to not take it to heart, because a normal, well-adjusted person would not make a comment like that. And that's what you have to keep reminding yourself.
But who's a normal, well-adjusted person these days?
Usually people that aren't in the media.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know. They're still out there.
Yeah, for sure. And now, as a new addition to the Nova breakfast team, so you're working with Ash and Lutzi, and you are kind of the new version of a breakfast radio team where this is somewhat groundbreaking, where the girl is the funny one. Because historically, the girl in a team is the one that has to just giggle at the boys' jokes and sort of just go, you're so funny, or stop it. You are the legit comedian in this team. How's that?
Yes, and I keep reminding them that. I keep reminding them of that every day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how many outs did you have today?
Yeah, exactly.
How funny was that joke? That was funny, wasn't it? Hey, I just got a text from Jim Jeffries. Wants me to open for him at the Ensign. Did you get that text? No?
Yeah.
They've handled it really, really remarkably well.
Yeah, great.
So, and it was a surprise to me with Nova. When I had the big meeting before I got the job with the bosses, and we were chatting about it, and I said, "Are you on drugs? I do not fit this formula whatsoever. And have you Googled me? Have you seen any of my stand-up?" this is crazy. You should not put me on radio. And I am not going to laugh at the boys' jokes if they're not funny.
Yeah.
And I'm not the, oh, you, ha, 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 girl. I'm just
No.
not that person. And I'll get angry and I'll get grumpy and I won't keep quiet. And they're like, oh, when can you start? And it was just so mind-blowing to me because all my life I've been told that I have to be the straight one.
Yeah. Or defer to the guys around you because they are inherently the funny people, except that it's not. You've blown that out of the water. Yeah.
Yeah. So their egos are not hurt at all.
Yeah, that's great.
Which is good. And Lutzi called me when I came on board and he said, just so you know, we know that you're funnier than us, but we're excited about it.
That's the perfect entrance, isn't it? That is so lovely because it's not easy also wedging yourself into an established team. Like that's, they have their own dynamic already. And when you're the new person, I imagine there was, some transitional stuff there that you had to navigate.
Yeah, it's gone really seamlessly well, which everyone's surprised. The bosses, they'd booked to come up every week to go do air checks and, and they don't even come up anymore.
They're like, oh, no, she's fine.
You're
she's
good.
Nailing it.
You're good. So, yeah, that's been good. It's like having two brothers. Like, none of us are particularly precious about anything. Well, I can't be, I've realised. Yeah, I feel like I'm the dickless brother who's joined the group.
That's such a great way to describe it. It's kind of my role here as well.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting that vibe. Mind you, sometimes I do refer to I've got to adjust myself. Yeah, I give my left nut for that too. There's this ongoing joke.
She's just one of the boys. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's one of the boys.
And then how do you balance it all? I mean, this is such a classic question, but every woman gets asked it about how they balance the family life with the working life, especially when there's, the hours that are unpredictable. So they're, first of all, early, but also there's other things you have to do after hours and that kind of stuff. How's that going for you?
Oh, that is the hard bit.
Yeah.
Because radio gets the best of me because that seems to be when I'm fresh. So they're all thinking that I am absolutely smashing this and then I go home.
Yeah.
And then that's when thankfully, I've been blessed with the best, most feminist husband on the planet.
Amazing. Yes.
Well, he's British, so he was conditioned by a feminist mother.
Great.
So
she did all the groundwork. Brilliant.
As much as she drives me nuts, she's done a good job.
Yeah, that's great.
And so he's dropped work at the moment, and he's doing all the home stuff. He's doing the homework. He's doing the parent-teacher stuff. He's fielding all the emails about uniforms and head lice.
So the mental load, he's taken a big chunk of the mental load.
Yes, but to be fair, I did all the heavy lifting and got my kids to an age where they kind of could look after themselves. How
old are they now?
16 and 13.
Oh, okay, yeah. But still, it's a tempestuous time.
Yeah, there's still angst. There's still teen angst.
Yes.
So yeah, it's been a really. I've been very much nurtured, and he's always concerned about how I'm feeling and are you going to be okay, and do you want me to book parking for you when you have to go to that event? Or he's really good. I'm really bloody lucky, I must say.
Does he have a brother?
No,
asking for a me. Oh, damn it.
No, but yeah. I married Mr. Darcy.
Yeah, well done.
That was always the thing.
Yeah.
And I met both on the same day. Him and his best friend. I met them on the same day at the races. And one was Hugh Grant and one was Colin Firth. And they had shook on it and said, may the best man win.
Get out.
I'm not even joking. This all came out in the best man speech later.
So you didn't even know?
No, I didn't even know. Until I was fielding an email from one of them and a text message from another. And I was like, what's going on? This is like like weeks later.
Amazing.
And I was like, what is going on? But yeah, I chose Colin Firth. And funnily enough, Mr. Hugh Grant is still single.
It's all exactly to script. That's so good.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's
I've done
amazing.
well there.
Yeah, you have done very well. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today, and welcome to the Nova family. It's great to have you on board.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. Very progressive.
Yes, exactly. Thanks, Nikki. That's awesome.
Bye.
See ya.
Nathan, Nat and Sean is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.